Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review on the boxing hand grenade fist loaders. So check it out. Okay guys, so today I'm going to do a close-up and review on the boxing hand grenade fist loader. Before we do the review, just to show you guys a close-up, it does come with this tin carrying case. On the front it says boxing hand grenade fist loader, implosive protection, explosive power, boxinghandgrenade.com, designed and made in the UK, which is awesome to see that. The inside lid just has your typical warning: if you partake in the sport of boxing or anything high risk, it's all on you. And then you have a pair of the hand grenades. We'll go over that here in a second. It also comes with the business card of the owner, Boxing Hand Grenade. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly, John Docherty, hopefully. Has his information on there. He's based in the UK. So you have the business card, and then just the bottom of this comes with a piece of foam. So you can put that in there. Now, onto the pair of boxing hand grenades. Obviously they're identical to each other, so the first thing you'll notice is that it is made out of a semi-hard rubber. It does have a little bit of give to it. It reminds me of the rubber that is used in mouthpieces, except maybe a little bit softer. And it's shaped just like a grenade. It has kind of those little lines that look like a grenade. And it has a tapered kind of oval shape to it. And the premise to this, it says boxing hand grenade that's printed also, is when you hold it, it sits in your hand real nicely. And you get a really nice grip. So the thought process behind this is what, from what I recall, is a lot of old school boxing coaches and boxers back in the day would get it like a roll of quarters. And they would put that roll of quarters in their hand. And so when they made a fist, they essentially is kind of similar to when you put a mouth guard and you bite down with your teeth. You're giving your fist to grab something onto. So when you make a fist, all of the bones and ligaments in the hand and in the wrist is basically forming more of a solid, like rock-like feel. So rather than without it, you make a fist, it's still nice and tight, but you still don't have that same feel like when you're holding something in your hand and you get a nice grip with it. It feels like you can really put a little bit more power into your punches because your fist is much more solid feeling. So that's the best way to describe it, is you get a much more solid, pronounced feel. And even when you're using this, to use it for mitts or using it on a heavy bag, you could definitely feel a better feel of connection with your punches, if that makes any sense, because of the way this sits inside your hand and gives you something to hold on to. So you have two of those, which is really nice. Comes in this little tin case and really easy to carry around with you. Put it in your gym bag and use it during your training. Let's go ahead and do the review. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on these boxing hand grenades. These are 19 British pounds, which is about 26 US dollars once you convert over to dollars. The boxing hand grenade fist loader is designed and made in the United Kingdom. They're currently in the process of bringing out their United States-based website as well, and selling them here locally in the States. So we have a plug here stateside for the boxing hand grenades. And once that's up and running, the nice thing about that is reduced costs as well as faster shipping times if you purchase them here locally in the States. Now, the whole premise behind this boxing hand grenade, in my opinion, is that it's very similar, if not the same, as the old school technique of getting like a roll of quarters and then putting them in your hand, so that when you punch with it, you get a much more solid and effective feel. And in some ways, what it ends up doing is it protects the bones and the ligaments in your hand. So you basically will put your hand wraps on, and then halfway putting the wrap around your knuckles, you put these boxing hand grenades in there, and then you can use it as part of your training. Obviously you get two of them, which are identical in size. It does have kind of like an oval shape to it. Kind of looks like a loaf of bread, if you want to call it that. And the thickness of this hand grenade, I would say, is about 3/4, maybe half to 3/4 of an inch. You can see that the rubber on here is quite pliable, and it does have a little bit of give to it. So it doesn't feel like it's overly hard. It's not rock solid. It's not uncomfortable when you hold it in your hand, which is really nice. Like I mentioned earlier, it kind of reminds me of the same kind of rubber material that they use in mouth guards, maybe a tad bit softer. But you can see how they look side by side and next to each other. And my hands, I guess you could say they're medium-sized hands, but you can see they fit in my palm really nicely. So regardless of your hand size, you're still gonna be able to have something to grip onto, unless you just have like mammoth-sized hands where it just kind of wraps itself around it. But even then, at least you have something in your palm that you could grip onto rather than like a roll of quarters, which is inconvenient and round and hard, so it wouldn't feel as good when you make contact with whatever you're striking or you're punching. So it sits right in there, right inside there in your palm. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap my hands up with these to show you guys a process of how you guys can use these fist loaders, and then show you how it fits when I put the gloves on. Now there's definitely a break-in period with using these fist loaders, because what ends up happening is rather than your fist being closed like it naturally would with your wraps on, when you put this in there, you're kind of opening up your hands ever so slightly. So the dimensions inside the glove is gonna be stretched out maybe by that much. So it's really gonna affect this portion and this lower portion of your hand being kind of stretched out a little bit more, because the fist loader sits inside of your hand just like that. Not by much, but a little bit. And if you do have a snugger fitting glove, you might feel a little bit of a difference in that. So that's really where the break-in period comes in together, which is getting used to your grip of it. And it almost also gives you kind of like a forearm workout, because you're constantly gripping onto this. So when you're punching, you're kind of activating all of these forearm muscles that you can see flex as you grip onto this. Compared to, I mean, you can still do that when you close your hand, but this just makes it a little bit easier. So putting this on, obviously you just put on your hand wraps like you normally would. And the main difference here is I'm just gonna wrap it like a really easy basic wrap. So after the first wrap, I have that layer underneath the palm side. I'm gonna go ahead and place the fist loader on there and just make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then from there, just wrap my hands like I normally would. So I'm gonna wrap it like I normally would. Go over the back, go over a couple times around the back of my wrist. Go over my thumb, do the back of my wrist again. Go around the pinky, around index finger, and finish this off. Get that around there. Put my hands up. Get that around that side. And go around the hand one more time. That outside edge. Around the knuckles one more time, and finish off on the back. So, have everything in there. Now you can see where the hand grenade sits. It sits right there in my hand. You know, if you need to move it around using your other hand to kind of just put it in position, you can do so. And yes, you definitely feel a much more solid feel when you make a fist. One thing that is, I guess, described or people say is that it gives you more power. I want to explain that a little bit more. Now, when they say it gives you more power, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're punching harder. You know, your power it comes from your mechanics from the ground up, from you pivoting, turning your feet, turning your hips, and putting your hips into your punches. That's where your power is generated, and some guys are just naturally more powerful than others that can throw harder punches. What I feel this does is that it helps you transfer the power. That makes sense. So what happens is when you make your fist and you're landing now, you know, before without the fist loader, you're still obviously going to punch hard. You can still knock somebody out, no problem. This just makes it easier to make a tighter fist, and it basically protects the bones in your hands, or helps protect the bones. You know, that's kind of a disclaimer. You don't want to just say, okay, yeah, you're never going to break any bones in your hands, because you still can. But it just gives you a little bit more of an edge with that. Now, so when you're doing some bag work, if you're hitting the bag, if you're training a lot, if you're training 6 days a week and you're doing a ton of bag work, this would be a really nice supplement to help you with that, to protect the little bones in your hands, to make you get a better forearm workout from the gripping of this fist loader. And it's basically a nice easy supplement that doesn't take away from your overall training session. It doesn't feel like you have to do a whole extra bunch of you know, putting this wrap on here and adding this to your arm. It's just a simple piece that goes inside your palm And then once you start using it, you kind of forget that it's there. So you have that in there. I have my hidden move, my all-day training gloves right here. These are 16 ounces. And just to show you guys, one thing is you slide your hand in there and get it in position. It works relatively easy in the fact that you'll notice that right about here is where the fist loader is at right now. So it's actually below the grip bar. And what it feels like a true grip bar, to be honest with you. It feels like what this is supposed to do is what the fist loader does. So I can make an excellent fist with these and really turn my fingers over. But what I feel is that my blows are more solid when they land. So when I land on the bag or the mitts, it's definitely more impactful. But more so than that, I feel like I get more of a forearm workout, because when I close my hand and I roll my hand into a fist, I can feel that fist loader there, and it forces my hand to really contract and grab onto that. So you're basically just making this area inside the glove just harder. And that's where the power transfer comes from when you make contact with the heavy bag or doing the mitts with this. I know there's been some debate whether or not you should be using these for sparring. I don't think you should, because for me, when it comes to sparring, everything needs to be fair and safe. That's the biggest concern, is when you're sparring, is your safety, right? The safety of yourself or your boxer. So any kind of supplements that you put in your gloves, whether it's fist loaders, weird kinds of wraps or some kind of knuckle guard, unless it's approved by whoever you're sparring with. You guys are both using like a gel guard, which is, if you guys are okay with that, then that's fine. But I'm really against just putting stuff in your gloves, just because I think it's just not proper etiquette, if you want to call it that, when it comes to sparring. And you should just go in with your hand wraps, your 16-ounce gloves. If you do have gel pads on there, obviously make sure your partner's cool with that, and just leave it at that. So when it comes to using them, I would just keep it to like bags, and it works. But overall, man, I've had these for I think about 2 weeks now. I've been using them, part of my rotation, hitting the bag with this, doing mitt work. At first, to be honest with you, I was kind of skeptical about these. I didn't know how they would work. And the more I use them, actually, the more I liked and enjoyed it. And the fact that they're relatively inexpensive. I mean, they're only 25 bucks. That was another point of contention. I was like, man, I didn't know how much they cost. So when I looked into it, in my mind, I was like, man, these are probably going to be really expensive, 50, 60 bucks. And I can just go give me a roll of quarters and just do it like that. But they're made perfectly for your hand. So the design is there. The cost is there for $25. I think it's good. It's made out of this nice quality rubber, so it should last a really, really long time. I don't foresee it going anywhere. Comes with a tin, the carrying case. So definitely a really cool supplement. Gives it a more solid feel when you land your punches on the bag or the mitts, and an overall a pretty nice training tool. So I'm definitely satisfied with these. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the website link for both their UK website as well as the US based website up, which is still being worked on right now. That way, if you guys are interested in getting a pair of these, then you guys can do so. I'll put all that in the description box, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.